I'm excited about this upcoming miniseries on the Kim Sorrelle Show. We're talking about 3 misconceptions that people have about men. So we're going to unmask the man, the real man, and share 3 misconceptions on what holds men back and what women need to know, the women in their life need to know about who a man actually is. We're going to get into it on the Kim Sorrelle Show. Coming up soon. Don't forget to watch.
Welcome to the show. I'm so happy you're here. We are doing this fun thing. We're doing a mini series all about misconceptions about men. So this is great for men to understand a little bit more about yourself and for women to understand more about men. I am with my good friend and man guru, Mista Yu, who I adore. And we did the first episode. You can go back and listen to that one where we talked all about the fact that men actually have emotions. And even though we tell men not to cry or they're told to suppress their emotions, that's not a healthy thing to do in a relationship. It's not a healthy thing to do as an individual. Great episode. You got to go back and listen to it. Today is going to be number 2 and equally as great and important. So listen to the whole thing. You're going to love it. So Mista Yu, thank you for being here.
Kim, thank you for having me. This is so much fun. I'm excited about this series. I believe that it's going to impact a lot of people, not just men, but also their significant others as well. So I'm just excited about hearing our feedback from this. So this is really good. And thanks for allowing me to be a part of your show, man. This is really good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Thanks for being here. And I called you an expert on the last show. You didn't really like that, but it's absolutely true. I mean, not only are you a man, but you work closely with men. You coach men and mentor them. And not only do you do that, but you have done a whole lot of research, a whole lot of reading, a whole lot of exploring and figuring out culturally, emotionally, what is going on with men, what should be going on with men, what is it that holds men back, what is it that creates gaps in relationships between men and women because of misunderstandings or misconceptions. And so you are an expert, and that's why you are the one talking about this. So let's get into it and go with misconception number 2.
Let's put man guru on a t-shirt. I'd get so much flack in this community. That's funny. Okay. I love you, Kim. This is great. All right. So number 2, the first one was intense just because of the subject matter. So definitely go and check it out. You want to see the first episode. You don't want to miss that part. Before we get into the second and third, you got to check out the first episode. It's really, really important to all of this. But the second one is the provision misconception. That's one of those that we deal with so much on the Men's Roundtable Series podcast. You can find it on YouTube and Facebook and wherever you get your podcast from. That's the one that the men struggle with the most because that's what we were kind of intimating last time we talked. We were talking about how men generationally get these ideas about what a man's supposed to be. If you have 5 jobs, you're a real man. If you don't have any jobs, you're not a man. If you're unemployed, your manhood is diminished a little bit because you don't have a job. You can't provide for your family. Your wife is the breadwinner. So that means you're not really a man anymore. You're less of a man. She's the man that she wears the pants. We deal with all these misconceptions about men, and provision is a big deal because it's been ingrained. It's been baked in to generations and generations. I don't know how far back we can go, but go back as far as the beginning of creation. You probably can find some of these same misconceptions that a man's value is in what he provides. Because I've been a man I had a fantastic job, relatively speaking, I had a fantastic job with the government. If that's even possible. No comment, no political commentary here. I'm just saying out loud. But I had a great job with the government, and when you're unemployed, when you don't have a job anymore, and that's happened to many men. I ain't the first. I'm not gonna be the last. But when you lose your job, it does something to you. It kind of changes how you view the world and even how you view yourself. So the second one is the provision misconception, that a man's value is in what he provides.
Wow, that's a big one. That is a big one, I got to say, because it is baked in. And I can say, as a woman of my age, that certainly
Young and
that's
beautiful and vibrant. What are you talking about?
that certainly that's well, the way I was raised is the man is the breadwinner, and expected to be the breadwinner. And I can remember I was coaching basketball years ago, and there was a basketball coach who was a stay-at-home dad. And I'd never heard of such a thing before as a stay-at-home dad. But his wife was a doctor, and he stayed home with the kids. I mean, she was able to make the better living, and they wanted to parent full time. And so he stayed home with the kids, and he got some flack for it. And looking back at that, I think, why did he? Because why wouldn't that make sense to everybody? You know, like it should just be perfectly fine and okay for that to happen. It's not out of laziness or out of any other reason. It was because that's what made sense for their family. And we tend to judge that, right? Like we sit back and go, oh, what's wrong with that guy? And man, we got to get off that judgment wagon.
No, that's big time right there. I mean, it's not. I'm not quite sure I understand what's wrong with that. If it's something that you guys agree on, then that's it. I don't understand why anybody else feels funny about that or whatnot. Now, when it's the dad going to the dog park and all the other mothers are there and he's the only guy there, I get why that could be awkward. I'm not saying it's a crime, but it could be awkward. I'm like, okay, when they want to talk about stuff, usually it's about their husbands. It's like, and you sitting there with a husband sitting there, I can see why that'd be awkward having that discussion. He might know the person you're talking about. That could be weird. That could be almost like being let into a secret club, and sharing information. So I get that part, but I mean, beside that, when the husband and wife agree that what, because her schooling, her education, she has more ability to finance their lifestyle and bring in a different level of living. What's wrong with that? So I don't really get that part of it, but I get where that's coming from and why it's a problem. So I see that your work isn't what you bring into the home; it's what you bring into the room. So I'm like, I don't.
Right. That's a good way to put it. Yes, yeah, but we do, for whatever reason, as a society, unfortunately, put man's earning potential or his income, whatever, somehow let it determine his value. And it has zero to do with who he is as a person, who he is as someone created in God's image. I don't think there's anywhere in the Bible that it says, well, you're more of a man if you make more money, and you're less of a man if you make less money. But yet, somehow, it's been created in our society to think that way.
I read through that multiple times and over nearly 3 decades, and I've never seen that in there either. The whole provision misconception, it's interesting because it has two layers to it. Not just the financial provision that a male brings into their household, but also what they provide to their family, to their community. So that's the important part, especially this time of year. Holidays are really tough for men, and I hear this a lot. Honestly, in 2025, I was hoping I would hear that less. That was my goal. All we're doing with men, with our podcast and our movement, I was hoping we hear that less, but I'm hearing it just as much, that men are struggling with, not giving enough. They feeling pressure, and obviously, when you turn your TV on at this time of year, you know what I'm talking about. You feel the pressure. I gotta buy this gift. I gotta get on this Black Friday sale and get out there 4 o'clock in the morning at the big box store to get, and they measure their worth and their value by the income that they bring in, the gifts that they can provide people to show that they're valid, or just move they make in their career and that kind of stuff. And there's like this little silent scoreboard in our minds that we deal with, and it's like we come up on the losing end the majority of the time because we can't sustain the kind of expectation that people put on us just as men. So this is a tough time of year for men. There's a lot of people who I've seen, and I made a reference to it last time we talked, but there's this road I take to go to our church multiple times a week. And there's this bridge that people have been known to jump off of, and we pass by it all the time. And every once in a while, it's not a lot now, which is Sometimes I'm grateful for the prayers, but once in a while we see somebody stand on the bridge, and then we hear about the fact that they jumped, they couldn't, somebody couldn't talk them down. And how do you get that far to say, you know what, I don't have value to anybody. I don't have value to my family. I don't have a friend that's going to miss me. I don't have a community that I bring some kind of worth and value to. It gets to that place, but it starts with this kind of stuff. That I believe it's kind of where it starts. That's just the last worst case scenario that I just described, but that's where it starts. We got family, we got friends, we got community, and we don't realize that we have value to them, and they care. Perhaps they don't tell us enough. Perhaps you don't hear it from. They kind of just, well, you know, I love you.
Mm.
There are men in my life. They are some of the more spiritual sons of mine that I've fathered in the gospel. There's some that are people who I mentor that they see me as a coach and dad. There are people who are even closer than that are men. I let them know because I don't know what they're dealing with all the time. I don't always get a chance to see behind the curtain because sometimes people show you what they want you to see as opposed to what's actually going on. I let them know, and this is kind of part two, what we talked about last time. We talked about the emotional part and being transparent. I let them know that I love them. I know that that's hard for some of them to understand because they didn't have fathers. They don't understand what that love means. That love means you're going to do something to me that's bad. Does love mean you're going to abandon me when you don't get along with my mom? What does love mean? They have a lot of challenges that they deal with. I let them know that I love them. And I tell them that face to face, eye to eye. It's uncomfortable. It might feel weird if you make it weird. But I tell them, I love you and you got value to this. You got value in my life. So I don't. You don't know who's going to be on that bridge. You don't know. You can assume, but everybody's always surprised by who's on the bridge.
Mm.
Always. They're
Mm.
like, "What? I just talked to him the other day. He said he was fine."
Mhm. Yeah. Oh my word. That's so true. That's so true. And that's the thing is, you value them because they are,
Hmm.
not because of what they do for a living, how much money they bring into the home, what kind of car they drive, what, how they provide for their family, what they provide for their family. We've done this weird thing in our society where we've made numbers a thing, and
Hmm.
numbers are not a thing.
Wow.
Like if you're together, you're a couple, you're together, you're a man on his own, whatever it happens to be. If you are living, if you're being who you believe God has created you to be, and you're doing whatever it is, whatever job, whatever volunteering, whatever it is that you're doing, you know that that's what you're supposed to be doing. Nobody can criticize that. Nobody should ever say, well, yeah, but what's your bank account look like? Or, well, shoot, are you having steak? How many times a week do you get a steak? Or, anything like that. Like the things that we make matter have no matter whatsoever.
Hmm. That's good right there. I mean, just speaking to the family and friends and community, all those that are watching and listening to this that fall into one of those categories. The man doesn't. You need the man more than you need the man's money. And I think I think it's important to understand that because he brings something to the table. I think Kim shared something the last time we talked. I think I can't. I don't want to butcher it, but go back and check it out. Check out the first episode. What she said was right in the pocket of what we're talking about right now. You're more valuable than what you bring to the table financially. I'm gonna be transparent on your show. Every time I get on somebody's show, especially somebody who I like, who I'm comfortable with, I start sharing stuff. So
It's good.
here we are in a same vein, me oversharing in here. But one of the things, I didn't have a father in my household, no, and the story is well documented. All of our podcasts, most of our podcast work talks about it over the past 5 years or so. And I came into married with my wife. We've been married almost next year will be 30 years. And I came into it thinking that the way I provided and I was a good husband by what I brought to the table as far as household finance. I feel like that was my primary goal. And it's like I said, I'm not unique. This is baked into a lot of people in their psyche. A lot of generations live by this and they pass it on to their children, grandchildren, great grandchildren. They pass this thing on all the time. It's not good. I'm just telling you what's going on. And I walked into this thinking, you know what? That's my way of showing that I cared, showing that I was here. I didn't leave my daughters. I didn't go to the store and never come back. I was always present. I was always here for all their recitals, all of their dances, daddy-daughter dance. I did the whole 9 yards. But I felt like my contribution, my main contribution, was what I brought in from the job. That check that I brought home that went into direct deposit. That's what I thought was my contribution. And I ran into a situation where I almost, my wife and I almost had some discussions, some uncomfortable ones about whether we should keep this thing going because I was bringing in the money, but I wasn't allowing myself to be present. So I had provision in there, but I didn't have presence. And she let me know real quick which one she preferred. And we had situations where we were in trouble financially. I mean, people that are close to us didn't even know that we dealt with that. We dealt with it off and on throughout the near 30 years of our marriage. But the one thing that was a constant was that she let me know that my presence was a non-negotiable. If I didn't have a job, everybody lost their job in the pandemic. Most people did. I know I was one of them. And she never said, you know what, go out there and get a job or else. She just said, make sure me and you are here. Presence was what she demanded. That was a non-negotiable for her and I. And once I bought into that and realized that, you know what, she's right. This mindset I had was wrong all of these years. Just suck it up. It's okay to be wrong. Just admit it. You get fast to the promise if you admit that you wasted your time and it's time for you to move on and pivot. So we often mistake presence for provision. A lot of women do that as well. So that's kind of a honest point that I
Oh,
think women listening should be thinking about. It's not provision over presence. It's presence over provision every time. One can't replace the other.
oh my gosh. So I'm so glad you said that because it's so true. It's because it's baked into us. It's baked into women that
Mm.
somehow a man's value is wrapped to his income in some weird warped way,
Wow.
and it should have nothing to do with it. A man's value is his value because he is, and that should be enough. And then, of course, you got to work, you got to feed the family, whoever, if it's the man, the wife, the both of them working together, both having jobs or however it works out for you. Every couple should have the freedom to figure out what that looks like. But you should never diminish somebody's value or even elevate their value based on their income. I've been in situations before where I've been in a room with different people where men have felt a little bit smaller than
Mm.
other men because, he's a cardiologist and he's a lawyer working with, some big firm or whatever. And then, well, this guy has this other job and he knows he's not making the same income as these other guys. And they kind of get quieter and back away into a corner a little bit. And it's because that's what we've been taught, that somehow your value has to do with your paycheck. And your paycheck is in no way a reflection of your value. And women, we have to realize that in men, that I've known women who have wanted to not date people because of they didn't make enough money. It's like, you got to be kidding me. When you start thinking in terms like that, you're just setting that relationship up for complete failure.
Yeah.
If you're dating somebody because of their paycheck, that is never going to work. I guarantee that's never going to work. You are never going to be emotionally connected. And then what happens then if that paycheck goes away? And that's what your relationship is based on.
Yeah. Wow.
Right? Or that title goes away. Right? So yeah, so we need to reform our brains, reform our thinking, and recognize that you cannot put a person's value based on their income. That those are two separate things. Income's one thing all by itself. It's money. Money's energy. Money's a tool. Don't put it in such a high place in your life that it creates a value on a person. It should not be like that.
Absolutely.
The person, the value is in the fact that that is a man created in God's image, loved by God just as much as you are loved by God. And that is the value. That's the value.
Yeah, you take me some places right now. Think about this. I never really gave it a whole lot of thought as far as deep thought goes, but think about the first man, Adam. Like God called him to make not just to make a living, but to also to do something else that I don't think men think about very much, or women either, for that matter. He called Adam to cultivate. He called him to nurture and care. I mean, he could have put Adam in a corporation. He could have put him in, in an apartment building, say run this apartment building, but he put him in a garden. I think that was really important. I can't say I'm an expert, and people call me Bible scholar, but I don't claim to be that. But think about it. He put him in a garden. I mean, there's no other place I can think of in the world you can nurture and care as much for anything in commerce or in business than in a garden. I mean, you got to take the time. Your hands get dirty. You got to put seed in. You got to watch it. You got to care for it. You got to make sure it's watered and has enough sun in the right place in the ground and relative to sunlight. It's so much care and responsibility that comes with that. I have a garden out here we have for 10 years now, and see that stuff. I grew as a person just being in this garden. I learned how to take care of these tender plants and make sure that I don't hurt them or uproot them or even kill them off because I mishandled them. And God's calling for more than just somebody to be a manager of finances as it pertains to men. He's calling for somebody who's going to do a lot more than that, to have a certain heart to bring to this equation. And I think if women are honest, whether you're a mother, a daughter, a wife, whatever your role is, I feel like if you're really honest, I really believe you'd love to have a man that cares for you, like I care for those plants outside, that cares for you like we would care for, like Adam was called to care for that garden and cultivate it and grow it, nurture it, duplicate it, cause it to blossom and bloom. I'm pretty sure that every woman in that's watching this podcast and those that will watch it, you want that as opposed to the other thing that we thought was the right thing to have that Kim just intimated so wonderfully. You can be the richest man in the world and still leave your family bankrupt emotionally. How many times have we seen that? It can be played out on TV, cinema, real life crime stories, and everything. Even on the 24-hour news cycle, we've seen it over and over and over again. People who are rich, despondent, depressed, mentally oppressed, standing on bridges, taking pills, putting guns to their head. They have the money that you said was important. They have it. They have the provision. You said it. That's all we needed. So why is that happening then? Because it was a lie from the beginning. It was never about the finances. It was never about the provision in the financial form. It was about the person's presence being there emotionally. Families are better when the man is present.
Mm, so true. Oh my gosh, I love what you just said. I love the whole talking about the garden and the cultivating and the what you're called to do as a man and Adam and what he first was doing, working in the garden. And yes, as a woman, I can say I would rather by a million times over have a man who cares for me and wants to nurture me and grow with me and watch me grow and help me grow as I help him grow. And then the guy with the bigger paycheck or the guy with a certain job or whatever it happens to be. Those are the things that we crave, that we want, that human connection, the things that actually make us human. The job doesn't have anything to do with making us human.
No.
The paycheck, the bank account, nothing to do with making us human. In fact, it can strip our humanity away if we let it, right? Yeah.
That's how you make robots, that job. How you make a robot? That job. That's how you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So to separate those things and realize that a man's value is not in his provision. It might be part of the equation. It might be something that a man does, but it's not who a man is.
That's good. That's good, Kim.
Yeah. So as women, we need to recognize that. I can tell you that I had a situation I'm not proud of, but I was young, married, had a couple kids, and my husband lost his job. I actually lost it for him. He was working at a place. I thought he was so undervalued. I thought he was worth so much more than what he was making. He wasn't making anything. And one day he was sick. He had the flu. And he never, not one sick day ever working for this place, not one sick day. He worked overtime, didn't get paid overtime. He was a salaried employee. And so, but he worked extra hours. He put his whole into this job. And I would sometimes pick him up from work. And so anyway, so he was sick one day. So I took the kids and went out so he could be home alone sick, and without little ones running around. And I got home and he was gone. And I'm like, what? Where would he go? And I called him. He was at work because his boss called him and said, if you value your job, you'll be here. I was so mad. I thought, what does he think? I mean, he was sick. Like my husband was so sick. My husband didn't get sick. He was so sick. And so a couple of days later, I went to pick him up from work, and his boss had always come out and talk to me for a minute when I'd pick him up. And I said, hey, so the other day, Steve was really sick. Why would you call him to work? Well, if he values his job. And I said, well, first of all, you can get everybody else sick in the office. Secondly, he's never called in one time. He's never been late, never anything. He's only gone above and beyond for you. And the one day he needs to stay home and get healthy, you make him come in? Like, that made no sense to me. Well, it was a Friday. Monday morning, my husband went to work. And first thing, his boss called him in the office and said, well, after talking to your wife, I don't think you like this job very much. And he let him go. And at first I was like, yes, that's good. He doesn't deserve you. And that's okay, honey. You'll find a new job. It'll be all right. Everything will be okay. And I was super supportive, and you don't deserve to be there and be treated like that. Like, that's just wrong. And so a day went by and I'm super supportive. And then day 2 came and I'm super supportive. And then he's looking in the want ads and seeing what jobs are out there. And I'm going, so you're applying for things, whatever, day 3, day 4. Well, pretty soon I'm going, where's the job? You have to get a job. Because we had these little kids and we had to eat and, whatever. And it like turned bad on me. Like, all of a sudden I just felt this pressure, like I needed to pressure him to get a job. He ended up getting a job making more than twice as much money as he was making. And he got it pretty rapidly. But it's like all of a sudden I was giving him less value somehow. Like, I thought, buddy, working hard enough to get a job. Like, you need to be working. That's who you are, whatever. And later on realized I handled that so poorly. Like, the supportive person that I was and getting him fired to begin with, I should have just stayed supportive. Because he didn't change. He's still the same guy. He's still the same great guy that I was married to. He didn't change one bit. His employment changed, but he didn't change. So why was I changing his value in my head? I never should have done that, ever. It was pathetic, really, looking back.
So what are you saying to these women that are watching and listening right now? What's the message?
Support. I mean, show the love. Like, don't make a man ever feel like his job is what makes him. Because I'll tell you, another thing that does is then men retire. And now we have this phenomenon with retirement where men, a lot of times, unfortunately, within a year or two, they die after they retire, because part of their worth, part of their identity was in that job that they had, that title that they carried, that paycheck they were taking home every week. Good. And so now they feel less of a man, less of a person, less valuable to society, to their family. But it's a two-way thing. It's not just on them. It's us as wives. It's us as partners to say, hey, that has nothing to do with your value. Don't ever make them feel like that's where their value is, so that when they retire, just because they don't have that title anymore, they don't feel like they're less than they were.
Wow. That's good, Kim. My goodness, that's really good. That's rich. I hope they're hearing you. That was amazing.
Well, I think it's just so. I love that this is what you brought up. I love that this was your number 2, because there is a complete misunderstanding when it comes to provision, having the man's value just tied up in that in any way, and we need to get away from that. So total misconception. 100%. It's so good you brought it up. I love it that you did.
Yeah, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And the things that some people choose business or commerce or their job over their family. People literally make these choices. They say it's for the other, but the investment is way too high. And you end up losing the thing you say you want because you invested in the things that you don't really want to do, but you think in your mind that it's more important that you do this. Then and it's really a mess. So I don't know. Hopefully we covered this efficiently. I hope that we kind of got through enough of the provision misconception to kind of help your listeners. I hope that I played a small part in that. But this is a big issue. It's a big topic, and people are still dealing with it. I hear about it all the time. I'm sure you do too. And it's a battle that's still raging, but we're going to win it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think awareness is key, right? Being aware that and admitting, like you've said a couple times already. First, you got to acknowledge it, admit it, see that it's happening, so you can do something about it. So, if you ladies, if in any way, when you look at your husband, your partner, and you somehow place any extra value on him because of what he does or doesn't do, or diminishes value because of what he doesn't do, or compare to somebody else's husband because of what they do, all of that you got to throw out the window and realize where your man's value lies, and that has nothing to do with it.
That's good.
Yeah. And men, what would you say to the men out there?
Oh, honestly, a paycheck doesn't define you as a man. I know you heard that. You watched your father and grandfather and even great grandfather perhaps kind of go through this in life, but a paycheck doesn't define you. It's about your presence. There's so much power in unity, and that's a different conversation that we can get into offline at a different time. But there's so much power in unity. When you're in agreement with your wife and when you're in agreement with your family, there's so many things that you can accomplish. Things happen for you that otherwise wouldn't if there was division in the household. So your presence is so important. The family they won't do better without you being there. They need you there. You are a part of the mix. You bring something to the table. You bring something to the table for your daughters who are looking at you as an example of what a future husband should look like. Your son's looking at you like what it means to be a man, and the example has to be a father to their sons when they have some. So and for your wife, the value is there. That unity is powerful. It's God made. It's God ordained, and it's like you matter. You matter to everybody in that family. You matter to your community, even more than to your job. And I'm sure you have areas of influence there in your workplace. But at the end of the day, your family, your community, that's what you're called to, and you bring something of value to the table, so you don't get caught up in the whole paycheck thing. That can change. We saw it in 2020. Who knows? We could see it again in the near future. Not being foreboding, but we're hearing things saying, you know what, some things coming down the pike globally. But your paycheck doesn't define you. Your presence does. So be present.
Be present. Be present. Great words. Great words. This was great. Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you for
Thank you.
having me here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and thank you for joining us. And keep these things in mind and realize, let's just get rid of these misconceptions that we have about men, and let's let men take their real place in life. And I appreciate you so much, my friend, and I appreciate you, everybody, for joining us. And this was part 2 of 3. And so tune in for the next one. Listen to the last one if you didn't already. Pass them along to people. Pass them on to other friends and family. This is valuable stuff, great stuff for people to hear, men and women. So share it both ways. And until we see each other again, I just pray that you keep your heart open, you live your love loud, and you are present for your family.